Alan Matheson Turing OBEFRS was a British pioneering computer scientist, mathematician, logician, cryptanalyst and theoretical biologist. He was highly influential in the development of computer science, providing a formalization of the concepts of algorithm and computation with the Turing machine, which can be considered a model of a general-purpose computer. Turing is widely considered to be the father of theoretical computer science and artificial intelligence. During the Second World War, Turing worked for the government code and cipher school at Bletchley Park, Britain's code-breaking centre. For a time he led WWII, the section responsible for German naval cryptanalysis. He devised a number of techniques for breaking German ciphers, including improvements to the pre-war Polish bomb method and an electromechanical machine that could find settings for the Enigma machine. Turing played a pivotal role in cracking intercepted coded messages that enabled the Allies to defeat the Nazis in many crucial engagements, including the Battle of the Atlantic. It has been estimated that this work shortened the war in Europe by as many as 2 to 4 years. After the war, he worked at the National Physical Laboratory, where he designed the ACE, among the first designs for a stored program computer. In 1948, Turing joined Max Newman's computing laboratory at the University of Manchester, where he helped develop the Manchester computers and became interested in mathematical biology. He wrote a paper on the chemical basis of morphogenesis, and predicted oscillating chemical reactions such as the Belousov-Zhabotinsky reaction, first observed in the 1960s. Turing was prosecuted in 1952 for homosexual acts, when such behavior was still a criminal act in the UK. He accepted treatment with theirs as an alternative to prison. Turing died in 1954, 16 days before his 42nd birthday, from cyanide poisoning. An inquest determined his death as suicide, but it has been noted that the known evidence is equally consistent with accidental poisoning. In 2009, following an internet campaign, British Prime Minister Gordon Brown made an official public apology on behalf of the British government for the appalling way he was treated. Queen Elizabeth II granted him a posthumous pardon in 2013. Early life and family. Turing was born in Maida Vale, London, while his father, Julius Matheson Turing, was on leave from his position with the Indian Civil Service at Chhatrapur, Bihar and Orissa Province, in British India. Turing's father was the son of a clergyman, the Rev. John Robert Turing, from a Scottish family of merchants which had been based in the Netherlands and included a baronet. Turing's mother, Julius wife, was Ethel Sarah, daughter of Edward Wallace Stoney, chief engineer of the Madras Railways. The Stoneys were a Protestant Anglo-Irish gentry family from both County Tipperary and County Longford, while Ethel herself had spent much of her childhood in County Clare. Julius' work with the ICS brought the family to British India, where his grandfather had been a general in the Bengal Army. However, both Julius and Ethel wanted their children to be brought up in Britain, so they moved to Maida Vale, London, where Turing was born on 23 June 1912, as recorded by a blue plaque on the outside of the house of his birth, later the Colonnade Hotel. He had an elder brother, John. Turing's father's civil service commission was still active, and during Turing's childhood years Turing's parents travelled between Hastings in England and India, leaving their 2 sons to stay with a retired army couple. At Hastings, Turing stayed at Baston Lodge, Upper Maze Hill, St Leonards-on-Sea, now marked with a blue plaque. Very early in life, Turing showed signs of the genius that he was later to display prominently. His parents purchased a house in Guildford in 1927, and Turing lived there during school holidays. The location is also marked with a blue plaque. Education. School. Turing's parents enrolled him at St Michael's, a day school at 20 Charles Road, St Leonards-on-Sea, at the age of 6. The headmistress recognized his talent early on, as did many of his subsequent educators. In 1926, at the age of 13, he went on to Sherborne School, an independent school in the market town of Sherborne in Dorset. The first day of term coincided with the 1926 general strike in Britain, but he was so determined to attend that he rode his bicycle unaccompanied more than 60 miles from Southampton to Sherborne, stopping overnight at an inn. Turing's natural inclination towards mathematics and science did not earn him respect from some of the teachers at Sherborne, whose definition of education placed more emphasis on the classics. His headmaster wrote to his parents, "I hope he will not fall between two stools. If he is to stay at public school, he must aim at becoming educated. If he is to be solely a scientific specialist, he is wasting his time at a public school." Despite this, Turing continued to show remarkable ability in the studies he loved, solving advanced problems in 1927 without having studied even elementary calculus. In 1928, age 16, Turing encountered Albert Einstein's work. Not only did he grasp it, but it is possible that he managed to deduce Einstein's questioning of Newton's laws of motion from a text in which this was never made explicit. At Sherborne, Turing formed a significant friendship with fellow pupil Christopher Morcom, who has been described as Turing's first love. Their relationship provided inspiration in Turing's future endeavors, but it was cut short by Morcom's death, in February 1930, from complications of bovine tuberculosis, contracted after drinking infected cow's milk some years previously. The event caused Turing great sorrow. He coped with his grief by working that much harder on the topics of science and mathematics that he had shared with Morcom. In a letter to Morcom's mother, Turing said, "I am sure I could not have found anywhere another companion so brilliant and yet so charming and unconceited. I regarded my interest in my work, and in such things as astronomy, as something to be shared with him, and I think he felt a little the same about me. I know I must put as much energy, if not as much interest, into my work as if he were alive, because that is what he would like me to do." Some have speculated that Morcom's death was the cause of Turing's atheism and materialism, but this seems unlikely. Apparently, at this point in his life he still believed in such concepts as a spirit, independent of the body and surviving death. In a later letter, also written to Morcom's mother, Turing said, "Personally, I believe that spirit is really eternally connected with matter, but certainly not by the same kind of body. As regards the actual connection between spirit and body, I consider that the body can hold on to a spirit, whilst the body is alive and awake. The two are firmly connected. When the body is asleep, I cannot guess what happens, but where the body dies, the mechanism of the body holding the spirit is gone, and the spirit finds a new body sooner or later, perhaps immediately." University and work on computability. After Sherborne, Turing studied as an undergraduate from 1931 to 1934 at King's College, Cambridge, whence he gained first-class honours in mathematics. In 1935, at the age of 22, he was elected a Fellow of King's on the strength of a dissertation in which he proved the central limit theorem, despite the fact that the committee had failed to identify that it had already been proven, in 1922, by Joel Waldemar Lindeberg. In 1928, German mathematician David Hilbert had called attention to the Entscheidungsproblem in his paper on computable numbers, with an application to the Entscheidungsproblem. Turing reformulated Kurt Gödel's 1931 results on the limits of proof and computation, replacing Gödel's universal arithmetic-based formal language with the formal and simple hypothetical devices that became known as Turing machines. He proved that some such machine would be capable of performing any conceivable mathematical computation if it were representable as an algorithm. He went on to prove that there was no solution to the Entscheidungs problem by first showing that the halting problem for Turing machines is undecidable. In general, it is not possible to decide algorithmically whether a given Turing machine will ever halt. Although Turing's proof was published shortly after Alonzo Church's equivalent proof using his lambda calculus, Turing's approach is considerably more accessible and intuitive than Church's. It also included a notion of a universal machine, with the idea that such a machine could perform the tasks of any other computation machine. According to the Church-Turing thesis, Turing machines and the lambda calculus are capable of computing anything that is computable. John von Neumann acknowledged that the central concept of the modern computer was due to Turing's paper. To this day, Turing machines are a central object of study in theory of computation. From September 1936 to July 1938, Turing spent most of his time studying under Church at Princeton University. In addition to his purely mathematical work, he studied cryptology and also built 3 of 4 stages of an electromechanical binary multiplier. In June 1938, he obtained his PhD from Princeton. His dissertation, Systems of Logic Based on Ordinals, introduced the concept of ordinal logic and the notion of relative computing, where Turing machines are augmented with so-called oracles, allowing a study of problems that cannot be solved by a Turing machine. When Turing returned to Cambridge, he attended lectures given in 1939 by Ludwig Wittgenstein about the foundations of mathematics. Remarkably, the lectures have been reconstructed verbatim, including interjections from Turing and other students, from students' notes. Turing and Wittgenstein argued and disagreed, with Turing defending formalism and Wittgenstein propounding his view that mathematics does not discover any absolute truths but rather invents them. Computing laboratory at the University of Manchester, where he helped develop the Manchester computers and became interested in mathematical biology. He wrote a paper on the chemical basis of morphogenesis, and predicted oscillating chemical reactions such as the Belousov-Zhabotinsky reaction, first observed in the 1960s, considered a model of a general-purpose computer. Turing is widely considered to be the father of theoretical computer science and artificial intelligence. During the Second World War, Turing worked for the Government Code and Cipher School at Bletchley Park, Britain's code-breaking centre. For a time he led HUT 8, the section responsible for German naval cryptanalysis. He devised a number of techniques for breaking German ciphers, including improvements to the pre-war Polish bomb method and an electromechanical machine that could find settings for the Enigma machine. Turing played a pivotal role in cracking intercepted coded messages that enabled the Allies to defeat the Nazis in many crucial. Alan Turing OBE-FRS was a British pioneering computer scientist, mathematician, logician, cryptanalyst and theoretical biologist. He was highly influential in the development of computer science, providing a formalization of the concepts of algorithm and computation with the Turing machine, which can be engagements, including the Battle of the Atlantic. It has been estimated that this work shortened the war in Europe by as many as 2 to 4 years. After the war, he worked at the National Physical Laboratory, where he designed the ACE, among the first designs for a stored program computer. In 1948, Turing joined Max Neumann's computer